Our home planet has been around for about 4.5 billion years, and during all this time it has been spinning on its axis. We humans are so used to this rotation that we don't even realize how much it affects our lives. But what if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? What would happen then? Would life on the planet be still possible? And what would the consequences of such an event be? Let's find out. Effect number 1. Extreme inertia. Effects. Our Earth, together with all of its contents, rotates on its axis with a speed of about 1,670 kilometers per hour at the equator. This means that every point on the Earth's surface moves at this speed regardless of whether it is a human, a house, water in the ocean, or air molecules in the atmosphere. It seems that nothing can change this until the very moment when the Earth stops rotating. Suddenly, everything continues to move forward at the same speed as before, but now it is no longer the Earth that moves, but the objects themselves. First, all the water of the world's oceans surges to the equator, crashing over the land and spreading over the surface of the continents. Tall buildings, trees, and even people are torn from their foundations and swept away by giant waves. The further away from the equator, the less water there is, and the less destructive the tsunami will be. However, even this will not save many cities from destruction. Huge whirlwinds will emerge everywhere, carrying with them sand, dust, and debris. They will rage like the most powerful tornadoes and hurricanes in history. Their speed will be several hundred meters per second, which is comparable to the speed of sound. Even an object as massive as a building can be picked up and thrown over a considerable distance, and the air temperature in some areas may rise sharply. This will happen due to the fact that the air, together with the Earth's surface, will continue to move in a horizontal direction. Meanwhile, the Earth's crust, due to inertia, will remain in its previous position, and the sun's rays will fall on it almost vertically. Thus, thermometers will show incredible temperatures on both sides of the equator. However, these effects will only last a few days. After that, the Earth would begin to gradually slow down. Effect number 2. A new look at geology. Our planet consists of several large blocks of rocks called tectonic plates. These plates constantly move, and due to their movements, the Earth's crust changes, mountains and valleys are formed. But all these processes occur quite slowly, almost imperceptibly to us. What will happen to the tectonic plates if the Earth suddenly stops spinning? Each plate will continue to move forward with great speed. Due to this, the North American continent will rush into the western coast of South America, colliding with it at a speed of about 800 kilometers per hour. As a result of the impact, huge mountain ranges will appear in this place. On the other hand, Australia, together with Antarctica, will crash into the Eurasian continent. This collision will be even more powerful. The force of the impact will be equivalent to the force of an earthquake of about 9.5 points. For comparison, the most powerful earthquake in history had a magnitude of 9.6 points. It occurred in Chile in 1960 and was accompanied by a destructive tsunami. However, the consequences of the collision of continents will become more clear only after some time. Due to the constant movement of the Earth's plates, they will begin to move apart from each other. This will form deep ocean trenches. Over time, one of the Pacific plates will slide under the North American plate, and the Atlantic Ocean will become even deeper. By the way, scientists think that it was the movement of the lithospheric plates that caused the emergence of the Moon. According to this theory, about 4.5 billion years ago, a planet the size of modern Mars crashed into the young Earth. As a result of the impact, part of the rock was separated from the Earth and it eventually turned into the Moon. Effect number 3. Shape of the Earth would change. Flattening. The Earth is flattened at the equator by about 43 kilometers. That's why the length of a degree of latitude near the equator is slightly larger than at the poles. If the Earth stops rotating, the centrifugal force that caused the equatorial bulge will disappear. As a result, the planet will literally flatten over time. Under the influence of gravity, the oceans will also begin to redistribute. Water from the equatorial region will flow to the poles, increasing their level. At the same time, the volume of water in the Atlantic Ocean will decrease because it will cease to be fed by the Gulf Stream. This warm current transfers heat from the tropics to Europe, making the continent warmer than it should be given its high latitude. When the Earth stops rotating, the Gulf Stream will no longer exist. Consequently, the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Western Europe will cool significantly. All this will lead to serious climate change. But the redistribution of water will not affect the level of the world's oceans in the immediate future. The poles will become wetter, but on the whole, the amount of precipitation will remain the same. Over time, the shape of the Earth will change and become more like an egg. The flattening of the Earth will also affect the duration of the day and night. Now that the Earth is not rotating, it will make one full revolution on its axis in 47 days. During this time, one hemisphere will be in daylight for 23.5 days, and the other in darkness for the same period. But since the Earth will be flattened, the situation will change. One hemisphere will have daylight for 37 days, and the other will be in darkness for 10 days. Scientists believe that the inhabitants of the northern hemisphere will be much luckier because they will get more daylight hours. Effect number 5, the day and night cycle will collapse. If the Earth stops rotating, the usual cycle of day and night will collapse. The planet will turn into a place where 6 months a year it is scorching hot, and for the same period, the other hemisphere will be in darkness and cold. But even those who live in the hemisphere that will be illuminated by the sun will not be happy about it. With the Earth's axis tilted at 23.5 degrees, the sunlight will fall almost vertically on only a small part of the hemisphere. At the same time, the rest of the territory will be in the shadows. So the difference in temperature between different parts of the planet will become even greater. Moreover, without rotation, the atmosphere won't move and there will be no air currents. There will be no winds, and with them, no weather. If it rains now, it rains everywhere. If it snows, it will snow everywhere. The air temperature will stop changing. It will become sultry and stuffy in the hemisphere illuminated by the sun, and freezing cold in the other hemisphere. Plants will die everywhere. Most likely the animals will suffer the same fate. Only bacteria and other microorganisms that can survive in extreme conditions will remain alive. Effect number 6, magnetic field loss. A big part of the Earth's magnetic field is created due to the rotation of the planet. The Earth's core is a liquid ball of iron and nickel, and it is thanks to the rotation of the Earth that electric currents are created in it. These currents in turn generate a magnetic field. The thing is that charged particles of solar wind blow from the sun to the Earth. Most of them are trapped by the planet's magnetic field, and then they enter the atmosphere and ionize the gas molecules. The resulting ions and free electrons then form the upper layers of the atmosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere. It is precisely these layers that are the main source of radio waves and X-rays. Without the rotation of the Earth, the magnetic field could weaken significantly. It may even completely disappear. As a result, the Earth will no longer be protected from solar radiation and cosmic rays. It is believed that the first inhabitants of the Earth were destroyed in this way. This happened about 3.6 billion years ago when our planet was still very young, and the sun was much more active than it is now. Perhaps the inhabitants of the Earth will be saved by the moon, whose magnetic field reflects the sun's emissions. Effect number 7, disruption of the atmosphere and oceans. Without rotation, the atmosphere and oceans will collapse. Air and water masses that do not interact with each other will lose their usual circulation. The rotation of the Earth caused the air and ocean currents to form. These currents distribute heat energy around the globe. Surface currents transfer heat from the equator to the poles and from the east to the west. And air currents make it possible to transport moisture from the oceans to land in the form of precipitation. If the Earth stops spinning, these currents will no longer exist. Weather will cease to change. Storms, droughts, frosts, and heat will no longer happen. In addition, without rotation, atmospheric pressure will drop by about 0.5%. As a result, oxygen will start to gradually escape into outer space. Gas molecules now won't have enough energy to hold on to the Earth's gravity. As you can see, the Earth's rotation has affected almost every sphere of our planet. But will the Earth actually stop rotating? The answer is no, and this is simply impossible. The Earth is spinning at a speed of 1670 kilometers per hour, and its rotation speed is constantly changing due to the tidal force from the Moon. It's like a figure skater pulling her hands in when she spins. The Earth is slowing down very slowly. Scientists have calculated that in 20 million years, a day will be 2.5 hours longer than it is now.